Hey everybody, Zach and Joe, your local Pittsburgh realtors, here again today with Jeani Bello of EMM Loans. And Joe and Jeani have been friends for a long time, good friends, and that's how I met Jeani. But I think the first thing to talk about here is how did you guys meet, and what was it about each other that you've been working together for so long?
Well, I met Jeani probably in the first few weeks I did real estate. I think that was back in 2013 or 2012, maybe even. And what happened is I was told to get a bank account that was separate from my personal account for business. So I went into a local bank, I think it was Niagara at the time.
Okay, yeah.
And I talked to the office manager there, and we talked about a business account and all those sorts of things. And then about, I would say 20 minutes after I left the bank, I told her I was a realtor, the manager. And about 20 minutes later, my phone rang and I had this excited, perky, enthusiastic person saying, "I'm Jeani Bello. I work with realtors all the time. I do mortgages, and I heard that you're a new realtor, and I'd like to introduce myself and tell you about what kind of services we offer." And that was my introduction to you. Do you remember that?
Thank you, Joe. Now that you mention that, I do. That is, thank you.
So she was one of my first contacts or networking people in real estate, and we've done lots of deals and pre-approvals and closings together since then, and I've introduced her to other people. And I started with Northwood, and then Northwood and Berkshire merged, and she's been in a couple of different offices, but has always provided great service no matter where she's been at. And that's kind of the constant, is when you get somebody who's a good loan officer, it's great to follow them around, and it's really the people that make the deals work more so than which company they're with, in my opinion.
Yeah, and a little behind the scenes info. Jeani couldn't remember how they met, and that was a nice little surprise, and that was a genuine reaction.
Yeah, that was, absolutely. I know, because I do talk to a lot of people, so
yes, you do.
Thank you for sharing that again, Joe.
So how long have you been in Pittsburgh, and what are your favorite things to do besides real estate? And then we'll get into that work stuff. Yeah.
Okay,
We know you do mortgages like 12 hours a day.
12 hours a day,
the
all the
other
day.
12, what do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again, Zach and Joe, for having me here today.
Sure.
It's really I'm really thankful and blessed to be here, and happy to talk to America and let them know all about Happy Mortgages. And so I've been in Pittsburgh. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh in the South Hills, and grew up there, and just always had a wonderful, strong love for Pittsburgh and helping people with mortgage. Some of my favorite things to do, as you say, I love the Montauk Trail. I love to bike on the trail, walk, jog, take my dogs, Biscuit and Muffin, out there. They don't go out quite as much. They're more on the neighborhood now because of, just because of their age and things like that. So I shouldn't have said that, but all is well.
So have you only named dogs after baked goods, or would you branch out from Biscuit and Muffin to other kind of dog names?
Well, we thought about Taco Bello. I mean, that would have been a good one. Biscuit was almost Taco Bello, and we thought about that would have been a nice one. However, the next dog would be Waffles. I love Waffles. So I think Waffles is a great name.
It's a perfect theme. It's an endless theme of names you could pick.
Yeah, foods. Yeah, that's it.
And they all sound like nice pet names too.
Right.
They're not like harsh or anything. Yeah, that's good. So what about the more boring side of things? How long is you've been raised here in Pittsburgh forever, but when did you start into the mortgage side of things?
About 20 years ago, I just had a calling into this industry. I just really felt like I just knew that there was something that I had to have need after having the children and stuff, and everybody getting a little bigger and school age. I was like, it's time for me to do something. You know what I mean? It's time for me to add and give back to my city and the people, and to make a positive difference. So I was just, the Lord directed me and led me into the mortgage industry, and I as you say, I do it with passion. I'm 7 days a week, always on the call, and everybody pretty much knows my schedule, that I go to church from 5 to 6, on Saturday nights. So, otherwise sometimes we are working Sunday and stuff like that to help win the bids.
Yeah, you've proven that to me and my clients quite a few times. I mean, one sticks out. It was a close friend, and we knew the deadline for offers was Monday morning, and we knew nobody else was going to get us a pre-approval, and that was Saturday at lunchtime, or Sunday rather at lunchtime, and long story short, we won the bid, and they got the house, and they were like, how is this Jeani gonna get us? I said, just call her. Just call her. You'll see.
Thank you for that. Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad to be a part and to make a difference out there in lives, and that's what's really nice, is to just help change lives and impact, individuals, families, communities, and just helping our state.
So the company you're at now, one of the things that I had mentioned earlier is how I tend to follow people, whether they work for one realty company or one bank or one lender, one insurance company or whatever that is,
Right.
because I know the people that go the extra mile are the ones that fit well with my style of customers that I kind of strive to work with. What does your company have, and what do you offer? Like, not all I think maybe people don't always realize this, that not all banks and mortgage lenders always offer all the same products, and sometimes they're kind of looking for business and they'll offer a special program. For example, one of the things we talked about ahead of time is if you're a doctor, they sometimes offer a special program. If you work for a big company, or you're a first-time buyer, or things like that, there's often things that people don't think about until you talk to a couple of different lenders. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about anything that you guys have that maybe separates you from your competition, as far as your loan products and different kind of loans that you do.
Sure. Well, thank you for that question, Joe. And absolutely right. Having the products and the availability for a buyer and things that they're looking for, and the years of knowledge and experience to help guide them through, the different available products. Like, you have, of course, your conventional product, your FHA, your VA or veteran loan, your USDA or your rural loan, and then you have your PHFA, your Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, for first-time homebuyers for the state of Pennsylvania. And this product is also, an amazing product, and especially a lot of the additional things that they have that they've put out this year to help our first-time homebuyers for the state of Pennsylvania has been very popular, and it's helping make and change lives and make a difference.
Since we're in the tri-state area, I know lenders are like realtors, they're licensed in certain states. If somebody, since we're close to Ohio and Pennsylvania, or Ohio and West Virginia, are you licensed in Pennsylvania, or just, or you can lend in other states?
Great question, Joe. Right now, at this time, I am only licensed in the state of Pennsylvania, so I take care of the whole state of Pennsylvania.
Good.
Nobody wants to go out in Ohio anyway. So.
We'll get somebody for you for Ohio and West Virginia if we need to.
But you shouldn't need that. Anything else that a first-time buyer needs to know that you deal with them all the time? What's one of the things that most don't know that they should, if you had to pick one or two things?
Well, I think it's important to ask a lot of questions when you're a first-time home buyer, and it's important to, first we would, if somebody's calling, you mean, like, what would they need to know?
Yeah, if I had a client that was a first-time buyer, I said, call Jeani, she's going to help you out.
Yeah,
Okay.
Typically, what happens is, especially with younger buyers, I'll kind of generalize there and say first-time buyers are often, late 20s, early 30s a lot of times, and they will go out and you say, have you got a pre-approval yet? And they say, no, I meant to do that, I'm going to get it. And then they want to see some houses, and they see a house and they immediately say, I love it, let's buy it. And you say, well, we need to get a pre-approval, you need to call Jeani. And they're like, just shut up and take my money, I want to buy the house. And I'm like, what kind of documents, and I know I've heard some of them express frustration with that, like, I didn't know I would need all of this stuff. So, typically what I tell them they're going to need proof of verify that they work somewhere and what their salary is, and tax returns and things like that. But what as a lender would be helpful for people to know to streamline that process, so when they call you, that they have their documents ready and they're not struggling, like Zach said, they call on a Saturday or a Sunday at noon and want to make an offer.
Right.
So they can be really hit the ground running when they see that house that they like and can make an offer quick.
Okay, well, I mean, first we'd wanna check their credit, so when they call, we would have a conversation as to where they are at the present time, and things, so first we'd be working on to see how is your credit, before we get to the documents, we'll be coming also with the documents, but first we wanna see if we need to build credit, if we have any credit, or if there's any issues on the credit. So first we would evaluate that so that, so that we have, we're in a better position for a purchase. Then once we go through that, we'll be looking at your debt to your income and understanding, what would be comfortable for you. Sometimes you can qualify for a higher amount, but that may not be what you're comfortable with month in, month out. So we wanna, often I'll do like a couple different estimates so that we can get an idea of funds that we need for the transaction, or as well as, what's the monthly payment gonna be? Because we wanna make sure that you have like transparency in that so that you feel comfortable, so that even though you might be able to afford something a little bit more, if you're not comfortable with that payment, then we wanna settle into something you're gonna feel comfortable with. So once we go over that, that would be the start of your pre-qualification, meaning we're checking their credit and then we're getting the document. We didn't get the documentation yet, we're pre-qualified, so we're checking the credit and reviewing the file. And the nice thing, a lot of people will like is normally I am the person doing all that happy stuff. You're calling me, you're talking to me, and we talk as we move through the file. Once we would check the credit and do that, then, like Joe said, we were gonna be working on the happy paperwork. So we are gonna need your driver's license, your 30 days of pay stubs, 2 months of your bank statements, all the pages, depending on whether we're doing first-time home buyer or just regular, conventional or FHA or something, we can need up to 3 years of tax returns, 3 years of W-2s or 1099s that would go with that. And then 2 months of the bank statements, all pages, or I might have already said that piece of it. And then if you had a 401k, IRA, anything like that, that we would add to the file. And then realize once you even do the file, you might add to it. We might start that, right now, like, hey, we're thinking of buying a home, but we may not buy for 3 or 4 months. So realize as a lender, we might need to get some updated documentation as we continue through the process. But communication to me with lending is very important, and we're here to help and answer those questions.
So one thing that's really common with first-time buyers is that mom and dad or grandma or brother, sister, uncle might be helping them out and say, hey, when you go to buy a house, I'd like to help out. And sometimes people aren't aware that you can be gifted money
Right.
towards your, down payment or towards closing costs, but there is some, the money just can't appear magically in your account. There is some, paper trail that has to follow it. So maybe you could tell them that, and that would help. Because a lot of times they wait until we're partway through the process, and then they can get frustrated with accounting for where the money, if you look at their account on the 30th of the month and then 2 days later there's $10,000 extra in there, you have to account for where the money came from. So maybe you could share your experience with that.
Yes, gift money is very common, and it is helpful, if family does want to come beside you and help gift you money towards your home purchase. And in doing that, we would want to have that conversation earlier in the start of when we're looking at your assets and the funds that you have. And that if something like this is an option where family does want to gift money, that we're going to do the proper documentation that we are going to need for lending so that it's a more enjoyable process and that things don't come up after and you didn't realize that, again, we would have to explain any deposits going into your account.
Otherwise, it's a great thing to have a gift of money just magically appear in your account, but you gotta prove where it came from.
Yeah,
That's right.
and then what we're talking about is if there's a mortgage, not a cash deal, obviously, but with a mortgage, the federal government has pretty strict guidelines of how to account for all those sort of things.
Right.
Anything else you'd like to add? I mean, this has been very helpful, I'm sure, so far, but any little last bits of wisdom?
Sure. Well, with that first-time homebuyer, there is that little soft second mortgage. So some people, are taking advantage of that newer product that just came out, and that does help to lighten up and give them some extra funds. So if they do meet guidelines and that's available, we would definitely go over that for them for their purchase, and that may help stretch their money a little bit more so that they could get into a home sooner than later.
I would say most people don't even know or consider the soft second mortgage like that, so could be very helpful.
Along that same lines, two things that I wanted to add that I know Jeani has helped my buyers with numerous times is, number one is, when I bought my first house, I always kind of heard 20% down. There are loans out there that are almost down to nothing. Like, some of them were, you can put less than 20% down, you can put 10% down, you can put 5% down, you can put 3.5% down. And in addition to that, sometimes I've had buyers who have said, oh, I already talked to a lender and I heard that when I get a pre-approval, that's like a hard credit pull, which could lower my credit score. So I don't want to get multiple, estimates, because I don't want my credit score is already a little bit on the low side. I don't want it to go drop out of the realm of where I can get a mortgage. So
Right.
I know you know the answer to that question, is that you can do multiple credit pulls and they only count as one when it's related to your mortgage. But how long of a time? I think it's 30 days or 60 days.
Yeah, usually you want to do that pretty quickly, and it depends whether they're doing like a local lender or whether they're using somebody online, because sometimes online they will do multiple pulls with multiple companies, so that could change a person's credit. So I guess best would be just to interview the person that you are thinking of considering for lending, and then if you're comfortable, go ahead and let them check the credit. That credit will cover you for 4 months, so that gives you plenty of time as far as that's concerned.
Right.
Cool.
And
Well, we'll put your information down below, and
yeah, like I said, one of my favorite things about Jeani is she works like a realtor, and not all lenders do. Some lenders are, more banking hours, Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, 9 to 5. She shares her cell phone and her email very freely with people, and you can reach her to ask questions pretty much any day of the week. I wouldn't say any time of the day, but at times that most people would not answer their phone, Jeani will. So
That's right,
that's
because
a really strength.
I do sleep late at night. You know what I mean? I sleep, but I do get up very, very early, so people can call and they text and they email, whenever that they have a question or they feel led. And so you're right, that is, I think, what some people really enjoy, that, they can have that comfort if something's bothering them, or if they're like concerned about something, we could have a discussion about it and think through their file. And again, realize that I just want to, help them and make an impact for them, for their purchase, and
And if you're having a bad day, just calling her and talk to her usually make you feel better. So.
I've had a couple of people say that to me recently. They like to listen to my voicemail. So.
Well, thanks again for coming in. We had a nice little lunch before this, and now we did our video to help promote your business. It was really great of you.
Oh,
Thank
well,
you.
Joe and Zach, thank you so much. I really appreciate the privilege to be here, and I feel blessed and thankful, for all the impact that we're making on Pittsburgh. And I, am happy to see what we'll do here as we move forward. So thanks again, everyone, and y'all have a great day.